been extracted. It has been pulled down. All of the nutrients have come out of it. And ladies and gentlemen, this is only 10% juice from concentrate. In reality, it's only like 5% lemon. It's a little bit of lemonade. It's a little bit of lemon and a whole lot of everything else. It's a little bit of lemon juice and a whole lot of everything else. And that's what a lot of our lives look like sometimes, including mine. We got a little bit of God and a whole lot of everything else. We got a little bit of prayer life and a whole lot of everything else. We got a little bit of worship and a whole lot of everything else. We got a little bit of praise and a whole lot of everything else. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my word to you. Don't you dilute God's presence in your life to be filled up to look good, but you make sure you get in a relationship with him, that when people see you and talk to you, and when they see the struggles you've overcome and come through, they understand that you got a whole lot of God and a little bit of everything else. Ladies and gentlemen, can I tell you why some people ain't come back to church after the pandemic? It ain't because they scared. It's because they got a little bit of God and a whole lot of everything else. You want to know why some folk are lazy in the church? It's because they got a little bit of God and a whole lot of everything else. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, storms will come in your life, and what you will discover when the right storm comes and when the right pain comes is you need not a little bit of God, you need a whole lot of God. Anybody in the house can testify that you've been through some storms in your life and you realize that 10% of God won't do, and 25% of God won't do, and 30% of God won't do. But when the right storm comes in your life, when your world has been tipped upside down, you don't want to look like you want know God. You want to know God inside and out. This is only 1% lemon juice, and it's full of everything else. If you don't hear anything else I tell you today, ladies and gentlemen, you make sure that you have a whole lot of God. Don't extract God from your life and replace him with your busy schedule and your spending habits and everything else, but you make sure you keep the main thing. Look at somebody. Tell them, keep the main thing. The main thing. I started working on this sermon on the plane. I started thinking about some of y'all. I've been pastoring this church for 4 years. I'm glad y'all ain't fired me yet, but I've seen so many of you bring caskets down this aisle. I've seen so many of you go through rough moments in the hospital. I've seen so many of you go through tough seasons. And then when I was thinking about you, as I closed my eyes, I started thinking about where you are today. And the question really becomes, how do you bounce back when life has turned your world upside down? It is because you had a whole lot of God on the inside of you. Anybody can testify this morning, you've been through some stuff, you've seen some stuff, and the only reason why you are alive today, and the only reason why you still got joy, and the only reason why you still got peace, it ain't got nothing to do with the songs on the radio, it ain't got nothing to do with the house you live in, it has a whole lot to do with the God that's on the inside. Folk want to know how you fall down and get back up. It's because you got a whole lot of God on the inside. Folk want to know how you go through worse seasons and then you jump up and it ain't a scratch on you nowhere. It's because you got a God on the inside. Some folk are still trying to figure out how you made it. It's because you've got God on the inside. Ladies and gentlemen, hear me. Whatever you do, don't dilate God's presence in your life. If anybody is deserving of your time, your treasure, and your talent, it's the one who gave it to you in the first place. Don't become store-bought lemonade. Tell you, you want to be store-bought lemonade. You don't want to be in this life, as we make real lemonade today, friends, in this life, what you're going to discover is that all you will get in this life are lemons. Look at somebody and tell me that's all you're going to get. Come on, look at somebody and tell me that's all you're going to get. All you're going to get in this life, lemons. That's all you're going to get. Can I prove it? The Bible says in Job 14, verse 1, that a man is born but of a few days, and they're all full of trouble. Can I go a little bit further and prove it to you? The Bible says in the gospel according to John 16:33 that in this life you will have trials and tribulations. The Bible never says you're going to have a house on the hill. Don't never talk about none of that. But what he does says you will in fact have a whole lot of lemons, trouble, pain, agony, disappointments. That's all you're going to get out of this life. Nothing good comes from the world that we live in. That's why the hymnologist tells us to build our hope on things eternal and hold on to God's unchanging hand, because all life is going to give you are lemons. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you can do one or two things. You can sit back and complain about the lemons you've been given. You can sit back and talk about how bad things are in your life. But let me tell you, we all got lemons. And your lemons might be bigger than mine, but I got a whole lot of them myself. And I don't want to hear you keep complaining about the lemons you have, because I got a whole garden of lemons growing in my backyard. Everybody in here got lemons. If you got some lemons in your life, just raise your hand. Look around and say, I got lemons too. We all have lemons in our lives. And ladies and gentlemen, you can do one or two things. You can sit around and complain about your problem, or you can take the bad things of your life and you can make something out of it. You can talk about how your daddy wasn't there, how he was never there for you, and how you ain't never had it right, and how all this is happening. And look at somebody, tell me, we don't want to hear all that. We don't want to hear all that. You can talk about all the things that's wrong in your life, or you can make up in your mind you're going to take what the hand that you've been given and you're going to work what you got. Look at somebody and tell them, take what you got and work what you got. Listen, that's what lemonade is. You can sit back and talk about all the things you've gone through, or you can take your lemons and make you some lemonade. But I'm going to show y'all today in 15 minutes how you make lemonade. I'm going to tell you, don't drink this when it's finished, because I ain't tasted it yet. But I'm getting ready to show you, friends, as we walk through this text today, how this all ties in with our life. Life is going to give you lemons. Look at somebody and tell you it's going to give you lemons. That's all you're going to get. And you can complain, or you can start making lemonade. I've decided I'm going to stop complaining about what I'm going through, and I'm going to make me some lemonade. Because while y'all complaining about what ain't right and who ain't right and what they did and what they said, I'm making me some lemonade. While y'all hating on everybody else and wishing you had what they had and they ain't got what they got, I'm making me some lemonade. While you talking about why your daddy won't there, well, mine won't there all the time either, I'm going to make me some lemonade. While you talking about the fact that you had it rough, I think we all had it rough. My ancestors had it rough. I'm going to make me some lemonade. Ladies and gentlemen, don't get caught up in where you've been. You think about where you're going. Make you some lemonade. Look at somebody, tell me, make me some lemonade. I'm trying my best, Kenny. Here it is. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, this is the thing about homemade lemonade. Real homemade lemonade goes through what's called a squeezer. God help me in this place. It goes through what's God help me in this place. It goes through what's called a squeezer. It is this tool. You basically take you take the lemon, you put it in here. Now I'm not a good cook, so y'all be nice to me today. You take this, and in order for you to get the lemon juice out of the lemon, guess what you got to do? You got to apply some pressure. Oh my God. And see, this is the thing. Everybody wants lemonade. Don't nobody want no pressure. Oh, y'all was in my notes today. Everybody want lemonade. Nobody wants any pressure. But ladies and gentlemen, you cannot get lemonade unless you have first dealt with some pressure. In so many words, don't expect God to elevate your life. Don't expect God to do exceedingly abundantly above all you could ever think, dream, or imagine unless you have first had to deal with some pressure. You don't just wake up and get blessed. You go through pressure and heartache and pain and agony. That's when you get blessed. Everybody wants lemonade, but nobody wants to go through the pressure. Can I bring this a little bit closer to New Mount Baptist Church? Everybody want to work in the church until they find out that it's pressure around here. Oh, Lord, help me in this place. Everybody want to be close to the pastor until they recognize it. Pastor got some stuff too, and you got to learn how to keep your mouth shut when you hang out with him. Everybody want to have some lemonade until they find out, here it is, until they find out that being a part of things and cliques and places, it causes you to have to learn how to take a licking and keep on ticking. Can I go a little bit further? Everybody love the Bible till they start talking about tithing. Oh my God, pressure. Everybody loves talking about the Bible until it says love your enemies as yourself. Pressure. Everybody loves talking about what the Bible says until it says pray for those who despitefully use you. See, the problem is that everybody wants lemonade. Nobody wants pressure. But you will never, ever get lemonade unless you have gone through some pressure. And I believe it's a couple of y'all in here who said, Pastor Foster, I have had my share of pressure. I know what it's like to be broke. I know what it's like to be talked about. I know what it's like to be left on the side of the road. But I found out that what God does is he takes us through stuff in order to bring out the best in us. Anybody ever had a storm in your life, and now when you look back on that storm, you can testify that God does all things well? This ain't for the cute church. This ain't for the real saved holy church. But can I get 3 people in the room to take a moment and thank God for every mountain he's brought you over, for every valley he's seen you through? I need 3 people just to stand on your feet, throw your hands up, lift your head back, and thank God for the pressure that was applied to your life, because now you're like David, it was good for me. You gotta apply pressure, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you get lemons. You got lemonade. You have to apply pressure. And somebody's under some pressure right now. You got some bills overdue. You got a kid acting up. Your marriage is in trouble. And you're trying to figure out what God is doing and when he's going to get done. Only thing I come to tell you is he's just making lemonade. Look at somebody and tell them, neighbor, it's going to be all right. God is just making lemonade. Don't you put a bullet in your head. Don't you lose it all. God is just making lemonade. That's all he's doing. Don't you spend your time trying to figure out how God is going to work it out. All God is doing is making lemonade with your circumstances. And I don't know about you, but I got a feeling that God lemonade tastes better than all our lemonade. I believe what God does is so much greater than what I could ever do. But that's not the only thing, y'all. Most people take the lemons and they throw them away. Let me just tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. This is the problem we have. We hold on to what we no longer need. See, God has already put the pressure on us. He's already taken out of us what's needed for the process. And we still holding on to the lemon shells. Look at somebody and tell them, get over it. Or look at somebody else, tell them you got to get over it. Ladies and gentlemen, you throw the lemon shells away because you already have what you need. This is the preaching point. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes God, he allows us to go through a thing called pressure because he extracts the juice out of us, which we need. Whatever you have lost in a relationship, you didn't need it. Whatever you lost in a friendship, you didn't need it. Whatever you lost on that job that you desperately wanted to have, you don't need it. God takes out what he needs and he leaves the rest to go in the garbage can. And somebody needs to hear this today. Quit crying over the halls and celebrate the fact you got the juice. Look at somebody, tell them, quit complaining about what you don't have and what's wrong in your life, and celebrate the fact that God gave you something out of what you went through. Here it is. That Negro left you, but you've learned what a snake looks like. She left you, ladies and gentlemen, but now you know what a gold digger looks like. Y'all, we got to learn how to celebrate what we have left. God sends us through dark seasons. He sends us through rough seasons, and the whole idea is for us to learn lessons. That's all he's doing, is reminding you every time you go underneath the pressure, you're saving what you need, and the rest is going in the garbage can. Listen to me, friends. This is what I've learned in life, and I know I'm young, but this is what I've learned. You will go through things, and you go through them to learn lessons. Take what you've learned, throw the rest in the garbage can. Look at somebody and tell them, quit crying over what you lost and celebrate what you got left. Or look at somebody else, tell them, quit crying over what you lost and celebrate what you have left. I wonder how many of us, ladies and gentlemen, are still crying over what we lost when there's a whole pitcher of lemonade waiting to be made. I wonder how many of us are still stalking Instagram pages when there's lemonade ready to be made. I wonder how many of us still peeping in our past when there's lemonade that needs to be made. I wonder how many of us still mad at daddy because he ain't show up when there's lemonade to be made. I wonder how many of us are still trying to figure out why they don't like us and why they don't talk to us when there's lemonade ready to be made. Ladies and gentlemen, God sends you through what you go through to pull out what you need, and everything else can go in the trash can. You get your lemons, you go through this little squeezing thing, and I don't know if this is the right measurements, but y'all get the idea. Look at somebody, we get the idea. And then listen, ladies and gentlemen, you typically get lemonade. I need you to give me some water because I forgot to get some water. So go find some water, quick, fast, hurry. You kind of get some water and you kind of get some sugar, but this is the thing, y'all. You add water and sugar together. That's how you make lemonade. Now y'all know we from the hood, so we don't really follow the measurements. Look at somebody tell me we just pour sugar till it tastes good. I got any witnesses in the house? Y'all gonna play me today? But I got any folk in the house who said, no, we don't really use the measuring stick stuff. We just pour until we taste good. Friends, listen to me. You will get lemons in your life, but what God will do is He'll send people to bless you. God has sent people to take what the enemy meant for evil, to sweeten your stuff up. God will give you opportunities that you didn't even know was coming your way. God will send people your way to bless you, and you didn't even know they was going to bless you, because God never allows you to go through anything where He does not bless you in the process. And somebody needs to hear this today, that you're going through a rough time right now, but while you're struggling behind the scenes, God is adding some stuff that's going to sweeten your life up. God is adding some people who's going to give to you instead of always taking from you. God is going to add some people in your life that's going to say, no matter where you've been and what you've done, I'm not concerned about where you are. I'm in it for where you are going. God is going to add some people to your life who's going to make your life the better, because God never allows a storm to come and He does not turn around and bless you exceedingly abundantly and above all you could ever think, dream, or imagine. And that's why you ought to shout from now on whenever you find yourself in a storm. That's why you ought to shout from now on whenever you find yourself in a dark place, because whenever there's a dark season, there's a blessing on the way. I need you to look at somebody. Would you have them and tell them, neighbor, there's a blessing on the way? Oh, I ain't got a church this morning. Look at somebody else and tell them, neighbor, there's a blessing on the way. I know it's hard right now. I know it's difficult right now, but there is a blessing. There's a blessing on the way. God comes along, and He adds these folk to your life. Now, I told y'all now, we just, that's the kind of God we serve. We got a God like this that He ain't stingy. He'll give it all to you. That's the kind of God that we serve. Now, here it is, y'all. When God bless you with good folk and God send you through the pressure, look at somebody and tell them you can't get comfortable. You just can't get all of God's goodness. You can't get all of God's stuff and then don't do nothing with it, but you got to keep on working the process. Look at somebody and tell them you got to work this thing. You got to work this thing. And so, rightfully so, you got to add you some water. Y'all don't taste this because I'm not sure. But see, ladies and gentlemen, here's where I'm going to go home. And this is your shout, because this is somebody's testimony. You don't just pour sugar in the can, and you don't just add water to the pitcher, and you don't just add lemon juice, but you got to stick this thing down there. And I don't know what they call this. I think it's called a stir. A whisk. There it is. I told y'all before I said it, I didn't know what it was. It's called a whisk. If you just drop lemons and sugar in a pitcher without stirring it up, the lemonade ain't no good. Look at somebody and tell them you gotta stir it up. This is our problem, ladies and gentlemen. God has blessed us with dreams and visions, and God has blessed us with his word. We come to church every Sunday, and some of us in the same predicament we was in last week. We were in the same predicament we was in last month, all because we don't want to stir it up. Look at somebody and tell them, if you want God to move in your life, if you want to see God blessing in your life, if you want to see God working in your life, you got to put some work in, and you got to stir it up. Look at somebody and tell them, God gave you a dream, and God gave you a vision, and God gave you things to look forward to, but it ain't just gonna come to you. You gotta stir it up. You gotta stir it up, ladies and gentlemen. And this is how you begin to see, ladies and gentlemen, how God can move and how God can work. He takes the bitter things of your life. He adds people to your life. He takes things that you no longer need, ladies and gentlemen, and before you know it, he puts it in a pitcher. He mixes it all up, and then you've got you some lemonade. That's what our lives turn into when we trust God. We're trusting God to send us through storms and to pull out what we don't need. And then we're trusting God to put the right people in our lives and take the wrong people out of our lives. We're trusting God to give unto us exceedingly abundantly above all you can ever think, dream, or imagine. But here it is, you got to do your own work. You just can't get what you need from God and stop coming to church. You just can't get what you need from God and stop praying. You just can't get what you need from God and stop acting like it wasn't God who blessed you in the first place. But you got to keep on working, because the Lord who gives is also the Lord who can take it away. I'm going home. I'm done. I'm done. Shortest sermon you ever heard me preach, but here it is, ladies and gentlemen. God allows us to get two different elements to make lemonade. He allows us to get lemons. He allows us to get things like sugar, people, places, and things that elevate our lives. It is not your responsibility to worry about when, how, and if it can happen. It's your job to start working the process. So some of you have a business idea on the inside of you. And God is saying, listen, I've already given you the ingredients. You just got to start working the process. I've already showed you where you need to go. You just got to start working the process. When you consider your life, when you consider every storm, you consider every low moment and every high moment, this one thing we can all agree on: that God knows exactly what he's doing. But it's up to us to work the process. You know, this is the thing, you just can't expect God to do it all. This lemonade has gone through an extreme process. It has taken work. It has taken muscle to cut the lemons. I'm getting ready to bless about 3 of y'all who will shout. Here it is. This juice rather, it costs $1.78 to buy. This is for the folk who gonna shout. These lemons alone were $3.99. Try it on this side, try it on this side. The jug of juice, they didn't have to go through anything. Mom, was $1.78. The homemade lemonade, to even get started with lemons all by itself, was $3.99. Look at somebody and ask them, how much are you worth? How much have you been through? How much have you suffered? Friends, you can only shout after you've gone through it. Listen to me. The more the pressure, the more worthy you are. Some folk ain't worth nothing. They ain't been through nothing. Some folk can't shout like you shout because they don't understand. The jug of lemonade costs $1.78. And it didn't have to go through nothing. That's why it was so cheap. Lord have mercy. They didn't have to go through nothing. It went through a little machine squirted something out, and it went on down the assembly line. But it took me, y'all, no lie, it took me to make all this. I had to get by these lemons, that's $3.99. Had to buy this whisk, that was $11.99. I done had to buy this squeezer thing. That was about $16.99. And took Lady Foster knives out the house. I don't know how much that's cost. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, it took me over $60-some to make homemade lemonade. I could have went the easy route. I could have just picked up a jug of lemonade and went on about my business. But I decided to put in the work. I decided to work the effort. I decided to trust God. And that's what God is saying to you today. Are you going to trust him? Are you going to believe that all these things are working together for your good? Or are you going to keep walking past the refrigerator, grabbing the juice out the freezer? Don't you get it twisted. Your value goes up after every storm. You're worth more after every heartache. You're worth more after every failure. You're worth more after every slip up. You're worth more after you've gone through the judicial system. You are worth more than you were when you started. And hear me, don't you let anybody tell you that your worth has dropped because of what you've been through. God works backwards. He adds by subtracting. He multiplies by dividing. God does things differently from us. You are stronger, you are better, and you are wiser because of what you have been through. And you ought to celebrate God that you are not just a jug in the refrigerator where anybody can come grab you, but you ought to thank God that he took his time with you, that he didn't find it robbery to put you together one piece by one piece. And although you don't understand where you've gone and what you've been through, you can testify